Let us learn one of the most important sessions in diagnostic microbiology, the identification of gram-positive cocci from clinical samples. What is the importance of gram-positive cocci isolation? So, gram-positive cocci are one of the most common bacterial pathogens causing skin infections, bloodstream infections, pneumonia, meningitis, urinary tract infections, and surgical site infections. Isolation and identification help clinicians to choose the appropriate antibiotic therapy. Classification of gram-positive cocci. So they are classified based on their oxygen requirement. First divided into obligate aerobes and facultative anaerobes, then obligate anaerobes. So what do you mean by obligate aerobes? Obligate aerobes can grow in presence of oxygen, and facultative anaerobes means these are aerobes that can grow in absence of oxygen, and obligate aerobes means the organisms can grow in absence of oxygen. So example of the obligate aerobes and facultative anaerobes are Staphylococcus and Streptococcus, and obligate anaerobic cocci are most commonly Peptostreptococcus. So learning objectives: identify suitable clinical specimens, perform gram staining, select appropriate culture media, interpret colony morphology, perform preliminary identification test, differentiate Staphylococcus, Streptococcus and Enterococcus. So common clinical samples and common gram-positive organisms. In first, the organisms which are most commonly found are Staphylococcus aureus, Streptococcus. From blood, Staphylococcus aureus, coagulase negative Staphylococcus, Enterococcus. From urine, Enterococcus, then Staphylococcus saprophyticus. From sputum, Streptococcus pneumoniae, CSF, Streptococcus pneumoniae, throat swab, Streptococcus pyogenes, wound swab, Staphylococcus are most commonly isolated. Let us know the laboratory workflow for identification of gram-positive cocci. Step 1. Specimen collection. Collect the specimen aseptically. Proper collection is the most important step. Step 2. Transport immediately to microbiology laboratory. Delay may reduce recovery of pathogens. Step 3. Direct microscopy. Perform gram staining. Look for purple cocci. Cluster arrangement mainly indicate Staphylococcus. Chains or pairs mainly indicates Streptococcus or Enterococcus. Then presence of spore cells. Clinical relevance. A direct gram stain provides an early clue about likely pathogens and guides empirical therapy. Step 4 is the culture. Inoculate the specimen onto appropriate media. First is the blood agar. So this is the enriched media, supports growth of all major gram-positive cocci, demonstrates hemolysis, that is alpha, beta, gamma hemolysis. Then chocolate agar used for fastidious organisms such as Streptococcus pneumoniae. McConkie agar, most gram-positive cocci do not grow well, helps exclude gram-negative bacteria. Enterococcus may occasionally produce tiny lactose-fermenting colonies. Step 5 is the incubation, 35 to 37 degrees centigrade. Time 18 to 24 hours, 5 to 10% of carbon dioxide for pneumococci when indicated. Step 6, colony morphology. Then observes the size, color, hemolysis, pigmentation and texture of the colony. Step 7, identification test for Staphylococcus. First gram stain, then catalase test, coagulase test, mannitol fermentation, DNA test. For Streptococcus, catalase test, hemolysis pattern, bacitracin sensitivity test, optocin sensitivity, then bile solubility. For Enterococcus, bile esculin test, growth in 6.5% NaCl, PYR test. Step 8 is antimicrobial susceptibility testing. Perform Kirby-Beer disk diffusion or an automated system according to CLSI or UCAST guidelines. Important examples: cefoxitin for MRSA screening, penicillin susceptibility for streptococci, vancomycin testing for enterococcus. So identification scheme for the gram-positive cocci. So gram-positive cocci on culture plate. So first do the catalase test. If catalase is positive, then this is Staphylococcus species. If it is negative, then it is Streptococcus species. Gram-positive cocci. Always remember, all the biochemical tests should be performed from culture plate in microbiology laboratory, not from sample. So first sample is received in the laboratory, gram stain is done. Depending upon the characteristic features, the sample is inoculated into the respective culture plate. So Staphylococcus species, if it is catalase positive, the next test is the coagulase test. If it is positive, then it is Staphylococcus aureus. If negative, then coagulase negative Staphylococcus, that is cons. Coagulase negative Staphylococcus are two types, that is Staphylococcus epidermidis and Staphylococcus saprophyticus. So how you will differentiate between these two species? So differentiation is mainly based on novobiocin susceptibility test. If it is sensitive, then it is Staphylococcus epidermidis, and in case of Staphylococcus saprophyticus, it is novobiocin resistant. If it is catalase negative, then the organism is suspected to be streptococci. Then hemolysis on the blood agar plate is mainly examined. So three types of hemolysis are seen. One is alpha hemolysis, beta hemolysis, and gamma hemolysis. So alpha hemolysis, that the greenish discoloration of the colony. So examples are Streptococcus pneumoniae, Streptococcus viridans. Beta hemolysis, that is the complete clearing of the colony. So examples are Streptococcus pyogenes, Streptococcus azalecti. And gamma hemolysis means no hemolysis, mainly seen in case of Enterococcus and Streptococcus bovis. So this picture mainly showed different types of gram staining images of the gram-positive cocci. The gram-positive cocci mainly arranged in lanceolate separated diplococci, or in pairs and chains, or only in pairs, or GPC with the grape-like arrangements. Then gram stain. It is the most common differential stain used in clinical microbiology laboratory. Consists of four stains. First is the primary stain, methyl violet. Second, mordant, gram iodine. Third, decolorizer, acetone, and counter stain is saponin. So the stain was first devised by Hans Christian Gram in 1884. So these are the different types of stains which are used in microbiology laboratory. So first is the crystal violet, which is the primary stain. Then second is the gram iodine, which is used as mordant. And decolorizing agents is mainly acetone alcohol, and counter stain is the saponin. Procedure. So first, a 25% coin sized smear is prepared on a clean and grease-free glass slide from 24 hours culture broth. The smear is air dried, followed by heat fixed by passing 3 times through Bunsen flame. The smear is covered with crystal violet stain and kept for 1 minute, washed with tap water. Gram iodine is added and kept for 1 minute. It acts as mordant and forms diiodine complex. Then washed with tap water. Then the smear is decolorized with acetone and kept for 2 to 3 seconds. Washed with tap water. The smear is counterstained with saponin and kept for 1 minute. Finally washed with tap water. It is dried in air and focused under the oil immersion objectives. So these are the observations of the gram staining methods. So in the left picture, the gram-positive bacteria appears as purple or violet. Here on the right side, gram-negative bacteria appears as pink or red. So what is the principle behind the gram staining method? So first is the pH theory. The cytoplasm of gram-positive bacteria is more acidic than gram-negative bacteria. So gram-positive bacteria retains the basic dye, that is crystal violet, more strongly than gram-negative bacteria. The iodine treatment makes the cytoplasm further more acidic and forms the diiodine complex, which gets retained inside the bacterial cell. Second, cell wall permeability theory. The cell wall of gram-positive bacteria have thick peptidoglycan layer with tight cross linkage than gram-negative bacteria. The peptidoglycan is not stained. It acts as permeability barrier, preventing loss of crystal violet and iodine complex in gram-positive bacteria. Gram-negative cell wall is more permeable and allowing the outflow of crystal violet easily. This is attributed to thin peptidoglycan layer, presence of lipopolysaccharide in the cell wall of gram-negative bacteria, which gets disrupted by the decolorizer, that is acetone, forming porine channels that allow the diiodine complex to escape from the cytoplasm. This helps to entry of safranin and stains the gram-negative bacteria as pink or red. Third theory is the magnesium ribonucleate theory. It is present in cell membrane of gram-negative bacteria and helps to retain the primary dye. Uses of gram stain to differentiate bacteria into gram-positive and gram-negative. Second, to start empirical therapy with broad-spectrum antibiotic for identification of fastidious organism like Haemophilus influenzae, for detection of anaerobic organism like Clostridium species. Then fifth, yeast like Candida and Cryptococcus. What is the modifications? First is the Kofloff and the Biermann's modification. Second, Jensen's modification useful for meningococci and gonococci. Brown and Bren modification used for actinomycetes. Gram-positive bacteria appears as gram-negative in following situations. So first, damaged cell wall. Second, over decolorization. You must know about the gram stain. Primary stain is the methyl violet, crystal violet or gentian violet. Then mordants, gram iodine, decolorizers are acetone or acetone alcohol or iodine acetone. Then counter stains, dilute carbonyl fuchsin or basic fuchsin or neutral red or safranin. Alpha hemolysis is seen in two gram-positive cocci. First is the Streptococcus pneumoniae and Streptococcus viridans. So these bacteria or gram-positive cocci are mainly differentiated by the help of a biochemical test, that is optocin sensitivity and bile solubility. So Streptococcus pneumoniae, this is optocin sensitive and bile solubility positive. But in case of Streptococcus viridans, it is resistant to optocin Dix and bile solubility test is negative. Optocin sensitivity. So what is the principle? Optocin is ethyl hydrocuprin hydrochloride, inhibits the growth of Streptococcus pneumoniae at concentration of 5 microgram per ml. It creates zones of inhibition around the optocin disc. Median reagents, first sieve blood agar, bacterial colony on sieve blood agar plate, optocin disc 5 microgram. Then disc should be stored at 4 degrees centigrade. Optocin sensitivity test. So here the colonies are inoculated on the sieve blood agar and at the center optocin disc is mainly placed. Then it is incubated at 37 degrees centigrade for 24 hours. So if the zone of inhibition is more than 14 mm, then it is considered as sensitive. So interpretation of the results, if the zone of diameter more than equal to 14 mm, it is considered as Streptococcus pneumoniae. The bile solubility, the enzyme autolysin produced by pneumococcus solubilizes the peptidoglycan layer of the cell wall. This autolytic process is augmented by bile salt. The beta hemolysis, it is mainly seen in case of Streptococcus pyogenes and Streptococcus azalecti. So in case of Streptococcus pyogenes, it is mainly sensitive to bacitracin sensitivity test, PYR positive, CAMP test negative. But in case of Streptococcus azalecti, it is resistant to bacitracin sensitivity test, PYR negative, CAMP test positive. So bacitracin sensitivity test. So take 3 to 4 colonies of the beta hemolytic streptococci and streak on the entire surface of sieve blood agar with the help of sterile swab. place bacitracin discs on the blood agar plate and incubate at 37 degrees centigrade for 18 to 24 hours. Interpretation of result: any zone of inhibition around the bacitracin disc is considered as sensitive and the organism is Streptococcus pyogenes. Then PYR test: the pyrrolidonyl aryl amidase is an enzyme produced by Streptococcus pyogenes. So here the L-pyrronidolyl beta-naphthylamide is converted to L-pyrrolidone and beta-naphthylamine. The beta-naphthylamine combines with the PY reagent and gives rise to red color. So importance of biochemical test for Streptococcus agalacti. So here the CAMP test is used. CAMP is the Christie-Aitken-Munch-Peterson test. So CAMP is a factor. It is a phospholipase produced by group B Streptococcus that enhances the hemolysis of Staphylococcus aureus. So when group B Streptococcus is strict on a blood agar plate perpendicular to Staphylococcus aureus, an enhanced arrowhead-shaped hemolysis is produced at their junction, pointing towards Staphylococcus aureus strict line. So here in the picture at the center, the Staphylococcus aureus is strict. Then perpendicular to it, the Streptococcus agalacti is strict. Then it is incubated at 37 degrees centigrade for 24 hours. On the next day, at their junction, the enhanced arrowhead-shaped hemolysis is mainly shown by the group B Streptococcus pointing towards the Staphylococcus aureus. So CAMP test is positive in case of group B Streptococcus, and for group A Streptococcus, that is Streptococcus pyogenes, only the bacitracin test is sensitive and PY test is positive. Gamma hemolysis is mainly shown by Enterococcus and Streptococcus bovis. In case of Enterococcus, it mainly grows in 6.5% NaCl, bile esculin test positive, PYR test positive. But in case of Streptococcus bovis, here the PYR test is negative, then bile esculin test is negative, and no growth in 6.5% NaCl. The bile esculin test, the test is based on detection of group D streptococci and enterococcus to hydrolyze esculin in the presence of bile. So here esculin in presence of bile is mainly converted into glucose plus esculatin. Then esculatin in presence of ferric iron, then it mainly converted to black color complex, for which the entire medium becomes black. So procedure. So first the colonies are taken from the nutrient agar plate. Then it is inoculated in the BA agar slope and incubated at 37 degrees centigrade for 24 hours. So on the next day, the medium changes to black color. So it is positive. If no change in color, it is negative. Then let us analyze the case scenario so that you can interpret the result. So first, a 32 years old male presents with a painful swelling on his left thigh for 5 days. The swelling is red, warm, tender and has started discharging thick yellow pus. He has a history of poorly controlled diabetes mellitus. A pus sample is sent to the microbiology laboratory for bacterial culture and identification. So what is the workflow of pus sample in microbiology laboratory? The pus sample is collected with the help of sterile swab and sent to the microbiology laboratory. So first from the sample, the direct microscopy is done and the microscopic findings show that the gram-positive cocci are arranged in clusters. Then depending upon the characteristic features, as it is a gram-positive cocci, so it is mainly inoculated into the blood agar, McConkey agar and selective media like mannitol salt agar. So after inoculation of the sample, all the plates are incubated at 37 degrees centigrade for 24 hours. So on the next day, the McConkey plate showed lactose fermenting opaque colony. Then on the blood agar plate, it showed white opaque beta hemolytic colony on the blood agar, then yellow colored colony on the mannitol salt agar. Then microscopy was done from all the plate and it showed the presence of gram-positive cocci in cluster. Then nutrient agar plate showed golden yellow colored colonies on the plate. Then next the colony was subjected to biochemical test for identification of gram-positive cocci. So from the nutrient agar plate, all the biochemical tests should be performed. So first test is the catalase test. Then it's your catalase positive. Then after catalase test, the next test should be coagulase test in case of gram-positive cocci. So it also showed the coagulase test is positive. So the organism is Staphylococcus aureus. So quick summary, that is gram-positive cocci plus catalase positive plus coagulase positive. Then you should suspect Staphylococcus aureus. Gram-positive cocci plus catalase positive plus coagulase negative. Then it is cons, that is coagulase negative Staphylococcus. GPC plus catalase negative means Streptococcus species. Collect the right specimen, culture it carefully, identify it accurately, and report it responsibly. These 4 steps are the foundation of successful microbiological diagnosis. If you enjoyed this session, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support our mission of making microbiology simple, practical, and clinically relevant. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep making a difference. Thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe channel for more updates.